Okay.
As far ahead. Um, okay, we did this one, I believe.
We did verse 2.
We did the second one also.
What is this one here? Okay. I don't think we finished the whole of that one.
Okay, you know what? Let's begin. It is a new week. It is a new day. It's a new parak. Whenever you're in doubt, you should probably review. Rabbi said. So who's Rabbi? Rabbi is Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, the general compiler of the Mishnah, and no doubt a sign of honor that he's known as Rabbi, my rabbi. What does he say? What is the straight path that a person should choose? Kol shetiferet leosea v'tiferet lo min ha'adam. One that crowns the doer, and v'tiferet lo, and crowns him min ha'adam, from among people. Vehevei zahir b'mitzvah kala kivachamura, and you should be careful with easy mitzvot, just like harder ones. She'en ata yodea matan scharan shel mitzvot, that truthfully we don't know what the gift of reward is for mitzvot. So he's saying that since you don't really know the schar of the mitzvah, the reward of the mitzvah, even though we were actually talking about sometimes we're told what the reward is, but perhaps that's not the only reward. Maybe there's varying degrees of those rewards. Like for instance, if one of the rewards is long life, we don't know if we extend our lives by a second, a minute, an hour, or 10 years. והווה מחשב הפסד מצווה כנגד שררה. And we should not, והווה מחשב, and we should think about the loss of a mitzvah in conjunction with its reward. ושכר עבירה כנגד הפסדה. And likewise, it's actually interesting that they say schar avera, the reward of the punishment, in conjunction with its loss. Let's just take a look at the English translation, because this is getting a little confusing. Reckon the loss of a commandment against the reward, and the gain of a transgression against the loss. So, what I take this to mean is that Rabbi Yehuda is telling us you should always be mindful of what you're losing out on. What like if you're going to do an Aveira, what's the gain right now that you're going to gain from an Aveira? Let's say that you're tempted to steal $20, right? I need $20 for something. But what's the consequence of that Aveira? Keneged $20. I mean, it's really, even if it's $2 million, it's the consequence of that Aveira. In the next world, often we say it is really not going to be worth it. And then he gives us advice. Vistakel b'shlosha dvarim, and if you understand, if you look at these three things, you actually won't come to an avera. You will not be tempted to do sins. Da ma lemala mimcha, know what is above you. Ein ro'a ve'ozen shoma'at, there's a watchful eye and an ear that is listening. V'chol masecha b'sefer nichtavin. And all of your actions are recorded in a book. So whenever we're tempted to go on the path that perhaps we shouldn't be on, there's always a watchful eye. There's always an ear that hears. There's someone above you, and everything is recorded. And hopefully that'll sway us back to the path that we should be on. Mishnah number 2. Rabban Gamliel, the son of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, said, Yafet Talmud Torah im derech eretz. Amazing is or beautiful is the study of Torah with the ways of the land, and I think it means here action. Shigiyat shnehem mishakachat avon. And when the two of them come together, there is no avon, there is no transgression. V'chol Torah she'ein imam malacha, and all Torah that is not combined with work, sofa b'teila v'goreret avon. In the end, it's bitul. It's a waste. V'goreret avon, and it compounds sin. And this is a huge statement, for people, and I know many of these people, and I knew many of these people that were in yeshiva and that are in yeshiva, and want to sit and study all day. Rabban Gamliel is saying, unless you have actions as well, it's bitul, it's a waste. Elliot, did you want to comment on something? No?
I concur.
I mean, yeah, it's
because you can't. So what do people do? Let's say they study all day, every day, right? What do they do on Shabbat? Shabbat, you're supposed to study, but they do that every day. So that is that an occupation?
I'm not supposed to study on Shabbat. Shabbat, pretty often, you don't really study so much on Shabbat. Often there's only shiurim that happen sort of later in the afternoon, because Shabbat's really a time for tefillah, for menucha, for some rest. So people often only study during Seudah Shlishit, let's say.
Did I not read somewhere where the sect studied all night Friday night?
Really?
Okay, they didn't sleep. They studied the whole night. Okay, I
don't think that's
the truth is I truly believe in this. Okay, you need to study Torah, and you have to go out and do some work. Now the work is, are you teaching Torah?
starts Adam.
Hey, Paul, good morning.
Okay, is that still studying when you teach Torah? So you teach in the morning and you learn in the afternoon, and therefore you have a profession? Or do you go out and dig ditches or repair tzitzis or something?
Well, I mean, usually, Friday night for the Hasidim, really, it's not a time for learning. It's a time for a tish, that everyone gets together, they have some l'chaims, they tell stories and sing, and it's not the type of learning that I think Rabban Gamliel is talking about, where you're sitting all day with a Gemara or a Chumash and learning, as if it's in school, right? Now it's, Shabbat is a time to be out of school. So, while it's still occupying yourself with mitzvot, but that's the action, is now bring it to the Shabbos table and sing zmiras. And even if you're talking about the parsha, I think it's not the same style of learning. And here we see that his next sentence, v'chol hamelim ima tzibur, and all the workers that work for the community, you amelim imahem l'shem shamayim. You should be working also l'shem shamayim. So even if you're digging ditches because the road needs a ditch or else it's going to flood, you have to find the way to do that l'shem shamayim.
Well, maybe you can learn. This is about you. It says we're on We're on the Pirkey Avot that says you're not supposed to work.
Right?
I would say that it's saying that you are supposed to work, right? The whole this whole Mishnah is telling us
But the study of Torah, which is not combined
with work, is a waste of time.
it becomes the cause of sin.
You know, but it's saying that it's not just malacha; it's malacha l'shem shamayim, right? That even that, and I think
This
really
is
what
the
it's
one I would say that this is the one. What are these Mishnahs? What do they call these? Pirkei Avot. They're not Mishnahs.
They're Mishnah.
yeah, Mishnah. This is the
One of
last.
the Mishnahs it definitely.
I agree with.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that I have an issue with the whole world with the Hasidim and all that. Maybe they do work. I guess if a guy goes to school, like the guy says, if he goes to school in the morning, I mean, if he teaches in the morning, that's good enough. I guess as long as you have some income, you can be a teacher.
You could be a teacher. So one thing that it's not saying here. I think that
only ends at 9:30. Okay, bye.
Okay, so call me back.
Paul, are you with us?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought I was muted.
So, I don't think it's saying here that you have to go out and make money, right? I think sometimes we have to take Mishnah literally. It's saying, melacha, and now he's sort of describing the work that even if you're going to work for the community, the work should be l'shem shamayim. That no matter what you're doing, it should be l'shem shamayim, and it should be for the sake of heaven. She'zchut avotam misaitan v'tzidkatam omedet la'ad, because you're then tapping into the zchut of our forefathers, and their righteousness stands forever. So by doing everything l'shem shamayim, you're now part of this chain of history and people that did things l'shem shamayim, and you're going to benefit. Right? It says here, "V'atam maleh ani alechem sachar harbe ki'ilu asitem," and your ma'aleh, you will be ascended, and the schar, the reward, will be the same as theirs. So by doing the malacha l'shem shamayim, you're going to be lumped in to the avot, to the forefathers, and your schar is going to be raised. Make sense? Okay, I don't think we did this one yet. Hevu zehirin barashut. Very topical advice for us living in Quebec. I don't know about Ontario, surely, but in Quebec we are questioning the government. Certainly, careful with your dealings with authority. She'ein mikarvin lo la'adam ela letzorech atzmam, because they don't come close to people, meaning they don't befriend people, ela letzorech atzman, except for their own benefit. So be cautious is essentially what he's saying. I'm assuming that we're still talking about Rabban Gamliel. Nirin keohavin b'shat hanaatan, ve'ein omdin lo la'adam b'shat dachko, that they appear like they're lovely in a time of hanaatan. Really means like enjoyment. So when things are good, then they're all friendly. But b'shat hadchak, but in times of emergency, Einom din lo la'adam, they don't stand by their fellow people. So, because also keep in mind that we just learned, even if you're going to go work in the community, it should be l'shem shamayim. And now it's giving you a warning for all those workers, for all those going out into the world. Careful about the authorities, right? Careful about your boss. Careful about, the board of directors. Careful about whoever the rashut is, the government, the police, the teachers. Careful. Always have that sort of discerning, questionable attitude, and be sure that you're doing the right thing, I think is what this Mishnah is saying. Comments, questions, general observations?
This is true to life as it was written in what year? In the year 2?
Maybe.
As today in the year 2021.
Yeah. We're talking about almost 2,000 years old. Actually, who knows how old it is? It was written down maybe in the 2nd century. But, we think that this really is... This is what's called Torah Shebe'al Peh. This is perhaps came from Sinai, right? But careful in the Sha'at Adchak, and now we're in Sha'at Adchak. This is called Sha'at. This is an emergency situation. We're on lockdown, where things are closed. Careful, everyone, right? Even with the authorities, careful what you hear. Careful what the announcements are. Always have that questionable mind that doesn't just accept things, right? Which is kind of the Jewish way. We don't really, we're always guessing, second guessing things, challenging things. Number 4, Hu Haya Omer. So I think we're still talking about Rabban Gamliel. Aseh Retzono Kirtzoncha. So I'm assuming that we're talking about Hashem here. Do His will as if it's your own. That He's going to do your will as if it's His own. So His will as though it were your will. So He is with the capital H in the English. I'm assuming we're talking about God here. Batel רצונך מפני רצונו, כדי שיבטל רצון אחרים מפני רצונך. Batel, so set aside your will for His will, and He will set aside other people's wills for your will, right? So make His will a priority, and He's going to make your will also a priority. Hillel said, Al tifrosh min hatzibur, don't separate yourself from the tzibur. Ve'al ta'amin be'atzmecha ad yom motcha. So literally, don't believe in yourself, but I think it means don't be, don't believe in yourself too much. Don't think that you're so great. And very interesting addition of the words ad yom motcha, until the day of your death. I guess on the day of your death or after your death, you're allowed to think that you're all that. Ve'al tadin et chavercha ad shetagia limkomo. These are all very famous sayings. Don't judge a person until you're in his place. Ve'al tomar davar she'i efshar lishmoa shesofo lihishama. Don't say anything that can't be heard. Shesofo lihishama, that in the end it's to be heard. Meaning, I think what it means, don't say things that you can't understand, and in the end should be understood. Ve'al tomar lipaneh eshne, and don't say Shema lo tipaneh. Don't change. Oh, yes, Gail.
I think it means don't say that when I'll have time, I'll do it the right way.
Right.
That maybe you will never have time. So do it now correctly, because maybe you will never have time to do it the right way.
Right.
And I think the אל תאמר דבר שאי אפשר לשמוע refers to gossiping, that you don't want to say something quietly to someone that nobody and no one else would hear, but at the end, everyone will know that you said it.
Right.
So, Cantor.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious. All these things got put into this parak, but they don't necessarily follow, like one sentence doesn't necessarily follow another. It's like and each one of them could stand on their own, basically. So was there an intent that you know? What was the intent to put them together?
So I don't know, but I assume that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi was very intentful and didn't just lump things together. That they are back to even sentence, word by word, sentence by sentence, Mishnah by Mishnah, that there is a thought that sort of weaves them together. And so we're now talking about study and working, and it's telling you, and I think that all of this sort of falls into, now that you're leaving the yeshiva and you're leaving the shiur and you're heading out into the world, here's some advice. Don't think that you're the best thing in town. Don't judge people until you're in their place. Don't say things that can't be heard and that can't be, don't gossip. Don't, and don't put off things that you can do now, right? This is all great advice.
Yeah, totally.
And it's all for people that are in the world, it's easier to do these things when you're sort of with your Rebbe, but once you go into the world and you become your own person, and there's no teacher there's no rabbi there's no person that you consider the authority, don't forget there's always a watchful eye. There's always someone, above you. And
don't separate yourself from your community. Even though you go out into the world, you have to come back, or you have to associate with your community, meaning us.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I think it's really well done. It's going from step Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. I think it's really very well done.
So it all refers to Rabbi Gamliel, although they do introduce Hillel. So is it that where it says Hillel said, the rest of that is attributed to Hillel or goes back to Rabbi Gamliel?
1 second, if I may, Hillel was like 6 generations before Gamliel. Okay, so what they're doing is the modern people are giving an opinion. Don't do this, don't do that. Everybody's watching, and then they're saying, okay, listen, we're going back to our community 6 generations ago, and look what Hillel said. He also did the same thing. He brought everything together, okay? And now we're 6 generations later, and we're still learning from him. And now we're 167 generations later, and we're still learning from him.
That's right.
I think it also has to do with learning from, like, bringing in Hillel to kind of explain the first part where it says, do God's will as if it's yours so that he'll do yours. And then what comes after that is saying, like, don't think too much of yourself. So I think it ties in because it's saying, well, don't be so presumptuous that you think that if you do God's will, he's automatically going to go do your will. You're still, you're not maybe as great as you think you are. So it's kind of trying to bring you down to earth and say you should just do God's will and maybe not expect a reward, which kind of ties into the previous Mishnah.
Beautiful.
So I have here some sort of a Abra Ben-El has a comment on this.
Yeah.
Okay, and he brings in shul. I love this. Okay, immense benefits can be derived from a collective community, and then he goes on to say, why is it so important for Jews to worship in a congregation? Okay, it wouldn't be wonderful if somebody would pray on their own, they would isolate themselves, and so they can concentrate completely when they talk to God, okay, as opposed to going in. Okay, so what benefit does he get? Is there from davening yourself or davening a community? And so the benefit is he davens what he thinks is beneficial to him, not what is good for the community. And it's really the community at the end of the trail. It's the community that keeps surviving generation after generation when he leaves this earth. And so it seems like the community, the congregation is so important for the Jewish people, even though you want to daven yourself, even though you want to learn yourself, okay, at the end of the trail, what are you learning? You're learning what you think is interesting to you. But the community is learning everything. And then the community, if you have a problem, the community is there to help you out on a specific problem, as to you constantly praying to find what is the divine solution to my problem. People are there to help you. And that's the whole idea of being together with a community. Okay, and you'll have to keep being together with the community, even though you're out in the world.
That's great, and that's also why I believe it's Mishnah number 3 or 2 says that you get the zchut, the same merit and the same reward as, you know, people that came before you, because you're like tapping into this greater good and this sort of greater power. We don't daven alone, or we always want to daven with other people, because we don't want Hashem just to judge us. You know, like, I would much rather be with other people and judged as a collective, and also daven as a collective, than come to Hashem just me and sort of petition just me, right? Because then Hashem is looking at just me. But when we're all together, Hashem's looking at us as a group.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
That's the way I read it.
Yeah. The power of community, 100%.
And the analogy that they use here is like an army. Okay, if an enemy is attacking a fort, and every guy says, or every family says, I'm only going to look after my house, they're going to overtake that fort.
That's right.
Okay, everybody gets together, so the whole is more than the sum of the parts.
Totally. In fact, I was actually watching something recently about the ancient Roman armies, who were known to be, you know, hugely fierce and powerful, and they pioneered this tactic where they would interlock their shields, and they were able to withstand a force against the shields that you would think wouldn't be possible. But because when they interlock the shields, it like created a much stronger energy than even just one person with a shield, or even 2 people. But if they had like 10 people or 20 people, the sum was way more powerful than the parts, you know? So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Tortoise formation.
I'm sorry?
The tortoise formation. Like
Yes.
a tortoise.
Tortoise formation, that's what it's called, really?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that was in something I've just read recently, the tortoise formation. Yeah.
Wow.
Because putting their shields all up around them, it's like a tortoise in the shell.
Right.
Where is it? My father used to say, you know, you can easily break one stick, but if you put 10 sticks together, very difficult to break.
Yeah.
Well, another analogy.
You can build a house.
There you go. More than 10 sticks.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you guys so much for your insights. Great way to...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you Thursday night.
I'll be here.
Sorry I missed half of this thing, but I was asleep and my husband didn't wake me. I jumped out of bed and came right away to the Zoom.
Right.
Okay, Shavua Tov, everybody.
Shavua Tov.
So